Hello, today I'm covering slightly more technical topic, Blockspace. Blockspace is a concept introduced by Robert Habermeier, one of Polkadot's co-founders. He first introduced the idea of Blockspace back in October in his blog post called Polkadot Blockspace over Blockchains. Since then, he tweeted several times about what Blockspace is and why the main focus of Polkadot will be on increasing the amount of quality block space instead of maximizing the number of blockchains. And he also gave a presentation about this Blockspace topic recently at ETHDenver. I finally wanted to grasp this Blockspace notion since it has been lately mentioned a lot on Polkadot Twitter, and I also find quite interesting that while Gavin Wood is very passionate about open governance, Robert Habermeier has been vocal about Blockspace. The majority of this video is based on Robert's thoughts shared in his blog post, thread and Blockspace presentation. The essence of Blockspace concept is described here. The main goal should not be to maximize the number of blockchains, rather the main focus should be on maximizing the amount of work these blockchains can do, which means scalability is still the main key here. My understanding of this is that the number of blockchains running does not matter unless these blockchains finalize and commit operations. So Blockspace describes the capacity of a blockchain to finalize operations, which means Blockspace is the primary product that blockchains nowadays produce. The developers building dApps need to decide where they will deploy their dApp. They need to consider several factors such as secure execution, censorship resistance, usability, costs, and composability. So from the developer's point of view, all these determine the quality of the blockchain. And since Blockspace encompasses all these individual blockchain attributes, Blockspace should really matter to all dApp developers. When blockchains produce Blockspace, it's either utilized by dApps or it's not. And when Blockspace is not utilized, that basically means the resources to produce this Blockspace are wasted, and wasting resources is never good. So this makes me think, unless I'm mistaken, that nowadays we still witness a lot of Blockspace being wasted on many parachains because there is still not so many dApps deployed, and also given currently still low adoption, the number of finalized operations in blocks of many parachains is still low. But this is primarily due to the fact that these parachain ecosystems are still in very early days. Blockspace produced by different blockchains differs in three major characteristics: quality, availability and flexibility. Quality of Blockspace is equivalent of its security, meaning high-quality Blockspace should produce permanent records on blockchain's ledger. High-quality Blockspace is resistant to attacks and consensus faults. Then there is Blockspace availability, which means high-quality Blockspace is available whenever there is demand for it, so not necessarily all the time, but always when it is needed. If parathreads came to your mind now, you got it right. On the contrary, blockchains that are halted from time to time or need manual interventions for them to keep operating, these blockchains will produce low availability Blockspace because the supply of such Blockspace will be intermittent and thus unreliable. The third characteristic is flexibility. Flexibility means the Blockspace can be used for many different types of operations. For example, Bitcoin and Ethereum Blockspace is flexible only partially, in the sense that their Blockspace can be allocated only to transactions submitted by users. What this means, and this is very interesting, both Bitcoin and Ethereum Blockspace use so-called reactive model. That means they can only act on user-submitted transactions. So Bitcoin and Ethereum Blockspace cannot be used on so-called proactive operations that are automatically performed without users' input. So it's no surprise that most current blockchains are like this, but the future will bring blockchains that will advance beyond this reactive model, and Polkadot is aiming to be one of them. So quality, availability and flexibility define each Blockspace produced by each blockchain, and it is in the best interest of dApp developers to select the best Blockspace available on the market to build their applications on. Naturally, multi-chain dApp developers want to minimize risk to their users, meaning over time, once this Blockspace model gets widely adopted, developers will only demand high quality aka highly secure available and flexible block space to deliver their end products on. And here is another negative consequence of utilizing block space inefficiently and wasting it. Especially new, just recently launched blockchains reward a large amount of their native tokens to validators who are producing blocks that actually include very few to no operations. So rewarding validators or collators for producing blocks that have no usage is a consequence of inefficient block space allocation, and of course, as validators are being rewarded with tokens, the circulating supply increases while the utility of block space remains the same, low. So essentially this benefits validators at the expense of dApp developers and token holders. Here Robert noted that the same way cloud computing outperformed servers because cloud allocated physical resources in a more efficient and adaptive way, those ecosystems and networks centered on block space will eventually outcompete blockchain-centered architectures, and Polkadot will be one such a network. And what's the implication of this block space model for Polkadot? Given that Robert Habermeier is one of Polkadot's founders, no doubt Polkadot's architecture is centered on the efficient usage of its block space. I haven't seen this block space approach mentioned in other ecosystems, so it seems to be a fresh, quite advanced view at how blockchains should operate in the future. At the center of block space concept is efficiency, and efficiency is the core and absolutely crucial requirement for long-term sustainability of all economic subjects on open market. Why would multi-chain dApp developers want to deploy their dApp, for instance, on Solana, when the network gets manually halted once in a few months? Developers need high-quality, secure block space that is available 100% of time they need it to be. Having their dApp deployed on the network that is stalled every now and then is a horrific UX for their end users. From dApp developers' perspective, highly available and efficient block space should allow applications to adapt to periods of heavy load, but at the same time, applications should not pay for block space that they are not using. So this maximum efficiency of block space utilization seems to be a very challenging task to solve, but Polkadot is ready to tackle this issue with a tool called scheduling, simply because Polkadot's architecture was already designed with block space concept. Robert Habermeier concluded his block space post by stating that in the future, multi-chain space will be comprised of blockchains that will be able to scale or shrink based on the current demand for their block space. Hence, the goal of Polkadot in Web3 is not to produce as many application-specific blockchains as possible. The main effort is and will be to scale the production of high-quality block space and ensure block space is efficiently allocated to where it's currently needed. Simply put, Polkadot's vision is to become the most effective block space producer. So there you have it, quite a complex topic, this block space. What do you say? Be sure to let me know what you think. Do you believe this block space concept will rise to prominence in the blockchain space in the future? Thanks for watching and liking, and see you next time.